5, 4, 2, 1. All right, and you should be live. Go for it.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Well, good evening, Bordeaux families. Hopefully there are a few people able to tune in. Aaron, I just realized I don't have the YouTube live up on my screen, so I wonder if you could let us know how many people are here.
Sure. I see 8 concurrent viewers. If you do click on the top left of your screen where you see live on custom live streaming service, you can view stream, and that will take you straight there. But if you click on that, be sure to mute your the YouTube stream so you don't have echo.
Okay, excellent. So I'm going to try to do that real quick. I didn't have that set up. So I'm going to view the stream, and then I'm going to mute that video.
Yep. And you left your screen ready to live streaming service.
Got it. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen, and welcome to the families that are here, or parents that are here. Hopefully we'll get a few more in as well. We're going to do a quick presentation, and then we're going to leave plenty of time for questions. So here we go. Nope, excuse me for just one second. So many screens, so many things to keep track of here. Let's see. Okay. All right. Thank you for your patience. Okay. So we're going to start with introductions. My name is Ms. Hoff, and I'm the principal at Bordeaux. And we have, go ahead.
Brian Wiersbicki, I'm the elementary school counselor. Good evening, everyone.
Okay, I'm Paula Kennedy. I'm the assistant principal.
Excellent, thank you. And later on, we'll have Mrs. Lankilis, Wendy Lankilis, our family liaison, will be here for the second part of our forum tonight. Our agenda for the evening, we're going to start with the Shelton School District video created by the school district to give you an idea of what a day in the hybrid model is going to look like. Then we'll look at the specific Bordeaux videos and tutorials created by Mr. Wiersbicki and Joey Seward from the high school. They're amazing, and hopefully some of you have already seen some of them in your students' morning meetings. And then we'll go over a couple of things from the Welcome Back packet that hopefully you've received already, and then we'll leave time for questions and answers. So first things first, here's our Shelton School District Welcome Back video.
At Shelton School District, the health and safety of our students, staff, and families remains our top priority. We have been hard at work making sure we are ready to safely welcome students back for in-person learning in a blended model. Students will attend school face-to-face on Monday and Tuesday, or Thursday and Friday. Wednesdays are online learning days for all, with staff having office hours, planning, and/or online class meetings. Pre-K, kindergartners, and grades 1, 5, and 7 are set to return to school on February 22nd. Grades 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8 through 12 are set to start March 15th. In this video, we will go over what a typical day will look like while at school and highlight important safety procedures to ensure that students and staff are as safe as possible when they return to school. So what does a typical day look like? All students must wear face masks. All students are required to wear a face mask that covers their nose and mouth at all times while at school and on buses. Students should bring their own face covering daily, but schools can provide masks to students who forget them. Reusable, multi-layer cloth masks are recommended. Gaiters do not provide acceptable protection. Reusable masks should be laundered regularly or anytime that they become soiled. If your child rides the bus, they are required to wear a mask. Our bus drivers will carry extras just in case. All students will sit in their assigned seats. Siblings can sit together in a seat, but all other students will sit one student per seat. All high-contact areas and seats will be sanitized between routes and when they return to the bus garage. Before arriving at school, elementary students, parents, and/or guardians will fill out a daily COVID attestation form. Students will be given unique QR codes. Each school will work with families to provide attestation forms. Parents and/or guardians will send the form to school with their student every day. The QR code is unique for every student and cannot be used for other students in the family. Middle, junior high, and high school students will be given unique QR codes and will answer the COVID questions themselves upon arrival to school. Or they will have the option to sign in using their smartphones and answer the questions in advance by visiting the app screenmein.com. When students arrive to campus, they will go to a COVID screening location near the front entrance or bus entrance at each campus. The screening locations will be clearly marked. If students arrive late, they will go to the screening location at the front office. At the COVID screening location, students will scan their QR code at the screening kiosk. The kiosk will scan their temperature. The screener will ask the attestation questions if the student has not already answered them. If the student passes the questions and their temperature is under 100 degrees, they will be admitted into the building and asked to go to a hand washing station to wash their hands. If the student does not pass the questionnaire or their temperature is above 100 degrees, they will be sent to a secondary screener for a more advanced screening. If their temperature is confirmed 100 degrees or higher, or if the child is visibly ill, not related to seasonal allergies, or if any of the questions are confirmed as a yes answer, the student will be taken to an isolation room and their parent, guardian, or emergency contact will be asked to pick them up. Students who fail screening may not return to school for 3 calendar days or longer if quarantine is required and their symptoms or temperature have subsided. It is important for students to keep their hands clean throughout the day. Students must wash their hands upon arriving to school and will be required to wash them at multiple points throughout the day. This includes before eating meals, after recess, after PE, and completing projects or activities. Hand sanitizer stations have also been placed throughout our campus to help supplement hand washing. Although students will be excited to see their friends again when returning to campus, 6 feet of physical distancing will be required at all times, except when incidentally passing each other in hallways and momentary encounters on campus. Students will be able to talk to each other at appropriate moments, and there will be opportunities for socializing, but masks and distancing will be required. Classrooms have been set up so that tables and desks are 6 feet apart, side to side, and back to front. Our maintenance department has been working with our buildings to determine max capacity for students to safely distance in a classroom while sitting 6 feet apart. Students will not be sharing supplies or materials. Students will sanitize their hands upon entering the classroom. At the end of class, students will help wipe down their desk or any materials if they are transitioning to another class. Students will not bring their Chromebook back and forth for grades K through 6. In grades 7 through 12, they will be asked to bring their Chromebooks to and from home and school. Schools will be contacting families and publishing school supply lists on the district website. Teachers and students will continue to use the K-12 curriculum during hybrid. Meals will remain free for all students for the remainder of the 2020-21 school year. Meals will be in grab-and-go bags with a complete breakfast or lunch, and all items will be prepackaged. While at school, students will pick up their lunch, and depending on their school, go to the Commons, cafeteria, or classroom to eat. During Stage B, or the blended model, grab-and-go meal services will continue at the Shelton High School, Evergreen Elementary, and Bordeaux Elementary from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. on scheduled school days for students learning remotely, and also for community members 18 years of age or younger. Meals are limited to 1 breakfast and 1 lunch per child per day. We are working hard to provide as many meals as possible to every child in need. If a student receives meals while at school, they are not to pick up meals for the same day from the open site. K-8 schools, along with Choice and Cedar High School, will release 60 minutes early for asynchronous learning. Shelton High School will release at 12:30 for asynchronous learning. Asynchronous learning means that they will be learning independently from home. Students will also have 3 asynchronous days a week. Schools will be reaching out with more information. Shelton School District will continue to focus on creating a safe and healthy school environment as we transition to in-person learning. If you have questions, feel free to contact your school or call our district office at 360-426-1687 or visit our district website. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Mrs. Hoff, I think you're muted.
Why, thank you. Yes, I was. Okay, next up. So we're going to share some of our tutorial videos created by Mr. Worsbicky. And so I'm going to turn it over to him after I click on the link here and let him talk to you a little bit about what you can find on our website. Go ahead, Mr. Worsbicky.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Hoff. We were extremely excited to put together for our Wardo elementary families some series of videos and PowerPoint slides to help with that transition for your child moving back into this hybrid model. And so what we're going to show you tonight is what the teachers have already started showing the students in the classroom. The common areas such as hallways and bathrooms, screening areas, and what the procedures will look like with Buddy, actually, helping and teaching the students along the way. And we're just so excited that these videos have been such a positive hit with the students. We've heard some really wonderful feedback. So a big shout out to Joey Seward. Before I begin, he is the theater and drama director up at Shelton High School, who helped put all of these videos together. He and a group of high school students worked with me over the course of about 3 or 4 months, but just a fantastic series of videos that were just really well done, put a lot of effort, and I really thank him and the Shelton High School students for all the work in putting this together. So with that said, Mrs. Hoff, would you like to go to one of our video slides? So parents, when you go to our Bordeaux Elementary homepage, you will go and click on the student tutorials. And what is just another shout out to our incredible district staff. We want to thank the translation services, Jean Fairbrothers, Wendy Burlett, and Wendy Lankelis, who's going to be helping us with our translation later on this evening. They also put the slides into a Spanish translation along with the videos. An incredible amount of work, but that again is just the testament to the kinds of support we get within our district. So I want to thank them as well. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, what would you like me to show?
Let's do the welcome. Let's do that
Okay.
first welcome, just to kind of build up the suspense a little bit.
Okay, help me find it.
So click on the slide there where it says click the next slide.
Okay.
And then
Excellent.
click on the video.
Excellent. Thank you.
Attention, Bordeaux Bulldogs. Bordeaux Elementary School is very excited to be welcoming our students back.
This gives you goosebumps.
Very cute. I love that.
So, Mrs. Hoff, if you want to go to, you can scroll back up to the top and click right on the slide there. It'll automatically go to the next slide. Oh, try it again. There you go.
Yeah.
So in the series of slides, we have a really great Shelton District series of safety videos that talk about mask wearing, how to wash your hands, and then reminders about staying home when you are not feeling well. This was put together by the Association of School Nurses, and they are both in Spanish and in English. Really great. Just click on the link if you want to know more about those videos as you move forward in the PowerPoint presentation. Why don't you click it again, Mrs. Hoff? I think we've got the superhero spacing. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
One of the challenges has been, how do we teach students how to socially distance? We were kind of debating in our MTSS PBIS team about how best to illustrate that. Well, fortunately, we were able to have our administrators meet with the Chehalis School District and one of their elementary schools, and we heard about superhero spacing. And your child may already be talking to you about this. Let's show them, Mrs. Hoff, Mrs. Kennedy, what is superhero spacing?
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Welcome, Bulldogs. In this video, we're going to learn Welcome, Bulldogs. In this video, we're going to learn about superhero spacing. So what is superhero spacing? Well, superhero spacing will help us to remain distanced and safe while we're walking in the halls. Notice Buddy and the students facing forward with their eyes and face. Notice Buddy and the students' arms are lifted up, just like a superhero. One arm points forward and the other arm points behind. Now let's watch Buddy and his friends show us again. Notice Buddy and his friends have their eyes and face pointed forward. Their arms are up like a superhero and they're keeping a nice, safe distance in the hall. And that's how we do superhero spacing here at Bordeaux to keep everyone safe.
That's awesome. I heard that we have some kids practicing that at home already.
And that's one of the nice things about being able to put these videos embedded into the slides is you as a parent can talk to them about the safe, respectful, and responsible areas in that particular slide, and then play the video and have them watch Buddy demonstrate it and then the students demonstrate it. So you have access to that through the webpage at any point. So we hope that you avail yourself and take advantage of that. I'm not sure, Mrs. Hoff and Mrs. Kennedy, we want to show the screening, one of the screening, the bus one. If you just keep clicking, that one's to the office. That's cafeteria, doors and hallways. Yep, keep going. There it is,
Okay.
arrival.
How about
That's
this?
the bus entrance. Yep.
All right, let's take a look.
Arrival at the bus entrance. When you arrive, walk off the bus. Be safe and use superhero spacing when walking. Walk to the screening entrance and kiosk. Keep your mask on and use kind words and actions. Keep hands and feet and other objects to yourself. Wait patiently in the temperature kiosk line. Hand your attestation form to the staff and check your temperature. After temperature check, go to the hand washing station. All clean, time to go to class. Be responsible and go directly to class when you are done. If you are picking up breakfast, you can pick it up on the way to class. Have a good day at school, buddy. Now let's see you try. Walk off the bus and go to the screening station. Be safe and use superhero spacing. Great job. Keep hands and feet and other objects to yourself. Wait patiently at the temperature kiosk line. Hand staff your attestation form and take your temperature at the kiosk. When you're done checking your temperature, go to the hand washing station. Keep your mask on and use kind words and actions. Be responsible and go directly to class when done. If picking up breakfast, you can grab it on your way to class. Thanks, buddy, for showing us how to arrive to school on the bus.
So Mrs. Hoff or Mrs. Kennedy, I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit more about what they can expect moving forward with those screening kiosks.
Yeah, I think we'll get to that in a little bit, but that you pretty much Buddy covered it. He's got it. He's got it all down. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about attestation and the rest of that in just a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
If you want to scroll down just briefly, we'll show where.
Okay, we'll show.
So
Okay.
the next series is the recess, and we won't spend a lot of time there because it's very similar to what you just saw, but it'll give your child a sense of what the playground is going to look like when they come to school if they've never seen the playground, in which most of our kindergartners have not. So we've got the rules for each of the areas. We do have a couple of videos, more will be coming, that will show the students what the activity looks like when you're playing. It's kind of difficult to watch a picture. It's a little more easier to see in live video. We have some new equipment that was purchased by our wonderful Bordeaux Elementary PTSO, a toss-up, and then a big red climbing gym, bars, and of course our brand new gym, which we're all excited about. So again, these videos and slides are also in Spanish, and again are found on our Bordeaux school webpage.
All right, thank you.
Mrs. Hall.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay,
One
so
shout out, Mrs. Hoff.
yes, please.
Today is my wife's birthday,
Oh,
and she has just been so supportive in helping us get to where we are, because she also works in our school district. Those of you who know her, Susie Honecker Wiersbicki, she's the 9th grade academy, and she has just been, and she knows Joey, so she has seen Buddy perform, and actually she's been part of some of our early Buddy videos, and she has always been a supportive for our Bordeaux, because she then sees the students when they get up to the high school. So happy birthday, Susie, and I love you.
oh, that's so sweet. Happy birthday, Susie. That's awesome. Thank you. All right, so moving on here. So Buddy was showing us in the video that at the bus station, or at the bus drop off, and then also if you drop your kids off in the front, all students entering the school will need to turn in an attestation form each day. So this is what the form looks like. It's actually two-sided, one side in English, one side in Spanish, and we need you to answer these questions every single day that your child comes to school. Then we need you to print your child's name and sign. And if you answer yes to any of those questions, please stay home. We were talking today in our safety meeting with our staff that our #1 goal is to get students back at school and back to school. And then our #2 goal is to keep them at school. So we would like to make sure that, you know, we're asking you to stay home if you have any of these symptoms. And anything else anybody wants to add to that? Okay, moving along. So arrival and departure. So again, Buddy showed us a little bit for the bus. There are 2 entrances, one for walkers and drop off, one for buses. For families dropping off their children, you'll continue to use the drop off lane in front. We'd like to have students holding those attestation forms before they exit their vehicles. We'll have support staff out in front, and they will let you know when it's time to exit the vehicle and go to the screening line. The staff here will guide you through the screening process. We have the student QR codes here. You don't need to worry about those. Our staff will scan the QR code. Your student will have his or her temperature taken, hand us their attestation form. If they're all good to go, then they'll just head right down the hallway, pick up their lunch, and head to their classroom. For pickup, parents must remain in their cars actually for drop-off and pickup. So I know this is tough, especially for those of you who have kiddos that are going to school for the first time, but you must stay in your cars for drop-off and for pickup. And we will make sure to take care of your kids as they get out of the car, go through the screening process, get their breakfast, and we will get them to class with their breakfast if they're eating it safely. Again, Buddy showed you what the bus looked like, but before they exit the bus, the students will be asked by their driver to take out their attestation forms so that they have them in their hands as they're exiting the bus. They don't have to hold on to them through the whole bus ride. They can certainly keep them in their backpack or wherever you think is the safest spot, as long as they know where it is so that they can get it out when they get off the bus. Students will enter through the building, and again, through the back of the building, the staff will guide them through the gym, through the screening in process to get a breakfast if they're eating breakfast, and then into their classrooms. Students are required to wear masks on the bus. As you saw in our first video, they should plan to bring their own masks, but if they forget, drivers will have some just in case. Again, we'll go through the screening process once they get in through into the building, and then we'll get their breakfast and head them off to their classrooms. We'll have lots of people here on that first day, whichever is their first day of school, to help them find their way. We know that they're going to need lots of help at first, and that's what we're here to do. At the end of the day, please be prepared that our pickup times might take a little bit longer at first. We really appreciate your patience, even though we'll only have half of our K-1 students here. We are going to be working out a new system for pickup that involves parents staying in their cars and students being called out from the building to the pickup area one at a time. So our staff will deliver your students to your cars. We're going to be giving you a big placard to put on your visor so that we know who you are picking up. Your student's first name, last name, and grade level will be on that placard, and you'll be putting it in your front windshield. Students riding the bus will remain in their classrooms until their buses arrive and until they can load onto their buses. And again, our staff will guide them to the loading zone, and they will be with an adult the entire time, both directions. In the event that you need to pick up your student early, please pull into the parking lot and call into the office. We will call you back as soon as we have your student ready to go and it's safe to come in and sign them out. Mrs. Kennedy, would you like to add anything to that? Or Mr. Worsbicky? I may not have hit all the main points.
On the first, so the first day of the placard, when the kids come, we're going to actually give them the placard, so you'll be able to fill it out. And then you'll put it on your visor. And so when you come in, you'll just flip your visor down, and that's going to be our clue. We'll be reading it. Eventually, we'll learn your cars, and we'll be able to call, oh, there's Mr. Worsbicky's placard.
He's ready for pickup.
And if Mr. Worsbicky had a sibling, Mr. Worsbicky, can you put it up again, please? Can you do it again, please? If he had a sibling, he just put the sibling's name next to his name at the bottom. So you can have all your kids on one placard. And so that will help. So we will try to be as efficient. And I know the more we practice, the better we will be.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. As far as what the week looks like, for those of you that are in cohort A, you will attend school in person on Monday and Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you will be asynchronous. So you'll be independent online. If you're in group B, you'll be asynchronous Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you'll be in person on Thursday and Friday. And then everyone will have 60 minutes of asynchronous learning at the end of the day, since we are releasing at 2:30. So we have a schedule change. We're releasing early at 2:30. Okay, meals and routines for the rest of the day. First of all meals are free, as you saw in our first video. We are asking for starters that if children are choosing to bring lunch from home instead of taking advantage of our school lunches, that they bring a completely disposable lunch. We won't have the ability to return items to the classroom after they finish eating before they go out to recess safely. Just yet. If we can figure out a system for doing that, we will certainly keep you in the loop. We'll let you know and we'll tell you how we're going to do that. But for now, we'd like you to pack your child's lunch in a completely disposable completely disposable containers. I know that's a challenge, and like I said, we're going to be looking for ways around that. Again, in your welcome back packet, we're asking you to sign that school health and safety agreement and send that with your student on their first day of school. We'd also like you to send in an updated emergency information form so that in the event that your student does get sick or we need to contact somebody while they're at school, we have options for trusted adults that we can contact in the event of an emergency, and that we have current information. Okay, if students arrive at school and they fail the screening, a parent or guardian will be required to pick them up at school, and the student will be asked to stay home for 72 hours or longer if they need to quarantine. Recess is 1 grade level at a time. Students will play in different zones, and they will mostly stay with their classroom cohort. Specific areas and activities will be assigned to students on a daily basis or weekly basis. And children will be given hand sanitizer on their way out the door, and they'll either hand sanitize or wash hands when they return to the classroom. We will be taking attendance for all days, asynchronous and in person. Oops. Our restroom capacity is limited and it will be supervised. So we have a system for that. We will continue with social distancing, of course, and face coverings will be worn at all times. Students will be asked to wash their hands before returning to the classroom. Again, masks. So we're asking our students to wear masks for a very long day. They do need to keep their masks on unless they're eating their breakfast or eating their lunch. They need to make sure that their nose and mouth are covered. We are working on building in some mask breaks, some safe outdoor mask breaks for our cohorts. So your child's teacher will give you some more information about that. Go ahead, Mrs. Kennedy.
So we had some discussion about this tonight, and we are really working on keeping a structured reasoning behind everything we're doing. So with our mask breaks, we're really formatting them around eating or drinking. So the teachers are going to create water breaks that they'll allow the students to take their masks off to have the water break, or snack breaks where they'll allow them to take the mask off to have the snack break, so that we're really staying structured and we don't confuse students about when to take their masks off or when to have them.
That's excellent. Definitely. Yes, we know our students are going to be learning a lot of new behaviors with masks and social distancing and staying in their cohorts and all of those kinds of things. So you're right. We want to make sure that we're very clear about when it's okay to take it off and when you must leave it on. Thank you. All right. Questions and answers. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen so that I can see your questions hopefully here. And or maybe Mr. Worsbicky or Mrs. Kennedy can see questions while I'm getting there. Let's take a look. Okay. Are there any questions right now in the chat that either of you guys see?
There is not.
Okay, here we go. Is there a video for drop-off kiddos and where they go? Mr. Worsbicky, can you respond to that?
If you're referring to being dropped off in the front of the building, if I understand the question, yes, there is. There is a video in there that goes through the same procedures for the most part as you saw in the bus, except that it's going to occur in the front.
Thank you. And then also, how will kiddos know where their classroom is when they arrive? So we have been thinking about that a lot. So normally on the first day of school, we have lots of adults out in the hallway. They have class lists. And then they basically just ask kiddos, their names, and then we help them get to their classrooms. We know that that's something that we're going to need to have to do on the first day. The nice thing is that, all of our students that are returning in this first group will be kindergarten and first grade students. They're all going the same direction, down the same wing, down the same hallway. So they won't get lost. They won't go the other direction. We promise you that. We'll send them all in the same direction. And then it's just a matter of divvying them into their correct classroom. Teachers are going to be standing with, halfway in the hallway, halfway in their classrooms, keeping an eye on the kids as they come down the hall. One of the other cool things is they know each other already. So when your kiddos come down the hall and they see their teacher standing in their classroom doorway, they're going to be so excited, first of all, and then they're going to know exactly where to go. So we will make sure to have plenty of adults guiding them down that hallway. And like I said, our teachers will be out in the hallway to greet them. And then just in case Mr. Worsbicky didn't know this, Mrs. Worsbicky said, "Aw, geez." So sweet, those Bordeaux Bulldog buddies. I agree. Okay, I don't see any other questions right now in the chat. Mrs. Kennedy or Mr. Worsbicky, do you guys have anything else that you would want to go back and?
Well, from a social emotional perspective, I think it's real important to recognize that this is going to be a new transition. And we talked about this in our MTSS PBIS team about how to manage the hybrid when you're there in the moment face to face, and then having to transition back to a remote learning. And in some cases now an asynchronous for 3 days. And so my suggestion to parents is to make sure that you are always communicating with your teachers. I cannot tell you how many wonderful compliments I've received from parents about the relationship that they have had this year with their teachers. Teachers have just been really doing a great job of staying on top of any concerns that you have. And this would be a continuation of that. So please don't let that face-to-face be part of that communication. Make sure that you continue your relationship with your classroom teacher, number one. And then number two, I think the videos are a continuing reminder to give your child a chance to ask questions, and you may not have the answers, which is absolutely fine. You can go back and watch a video or reach out to Mrs. Hoff or Mrs. Kennedy or myself. So some students are going to make that transition really well. Some may have some difficulties initially. And if you do, please make sure you reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to meet with you or talk to you or check in with your son or daughter so that we can do everything we can to ease their concerns. But it's going to be a different experience for them. And I just want you to recognize that.
Definitely. Thank you for pointing that out. Mrs. Kennedy, will you talk a little bit about what happens if a student forgets their attestation form? And we have sort of 3 different situations that could occur. So one would be they walk to school and they have no attestation form. One would be they're getting dropped off and they have no attestation form. And another would be they're on the bus and they have no attestation form. What happens if we have one of those situations?
Okay, I'm going to start with being dropped off with no attestation form because it's the simplest. So you show up in your car, you have forgotten your attestation form. We are going to hand you an attestation form. We're going to ask you to pull into the fire lane. We're going to ask you to fill it out. As soon as you're done, we're going to ask you to wave it out the window. We're going to come over, have your student get out of the car with it, check it, make sure the answers are no, and your student's going to be allowed to come in the building. If your student is a walker and they show up and they don't have an attestation form, they'll come in, they'll come over and we'll be calling, they'll go over into a no attestation area, which is over in our new gym. And in that area, we will be contacting you. We can ask the students if they have a cough or and we can take their temperature. And if they have a cough, if they have any symptoms, but the questions about if they've been exposed to somebody with COVID and some of these questions that a 5 or 6 year old wouldn't be able to answer, We're going to call you at home and we're going to ask you to answer those questions before we can actually have your student go to class. So we'll be calling you and contacting you, and we'll complete the attestation form for you. And then we'll make sure that we send home a copy so that you can send it in the next day. If a student comes on the bus, it's very similar if they walk. If they come on the bus, we would then have them come in, we'd take their temperature. We would move them over into the area of no attestation form. We would call you. Of course, we do the same process. We're going to go ahead and ask them about their own symptoms, but those questions that they can't answer that are more appropriate for an adult, we're going to call you and ask you, and we're going to fill out the attestation form for you. And then we're going to send some home so that you can send them the next day. The one thing that we have to have is those attestation questions answered in order for your student to walk into the classroom. So that's not a negotiable, and we can do that over the phone. We prefer to have it on the form, but if, things happen, we understand that. So we can do it over the phone in those cases.
Excellent. Thank you so much for explaining that. Let's see. I'm going to look back at the chat again.
There
Go
was
ahead.
one more piece that kind of thinking about what Mr. Wersbicki was talking about, the social emotional. Another thing we have put in place, and we're really working hard on, is recess. And so students are going to be in their classroom cohorts for recess, and we're looking at safety. And so we will also have a recess teacher assigned to each cohort that will stay with that cohort. So that recess teacher will be with that cohort for the rest of the year and be able to work with those students and build that relationship, which is a wonderful piece to have that relationship with your students, and be able to teach them the process of playing again in this setting.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Yeah, our teams have really been hard at work trying to make sure that we are prepared. And like I said, that once we have your kiddos back in school, that we get to keep them here, because what we're doing while they're here is safe. And again, a lot of work has gone into this. Also, things could change as we go forward in terms, we're going to get our kiddos back in, and we're going to see how things are working in terms of all of the planning that we've done and all of the setup that we've done. And if things are not working for some reason, we're going to make some changes, and we're going to communicate with you, with all of our families about, those hopefully just slight tweaks that we need to make in order to make everything work. But Monday we're ready to go, and we're going to give it a shot, and we're feeling really confident and really ready for our first group of kids to come back. We're very excited to have them back. Mrs. Kennedy, you have to tell your story about what kiddos were saying in class meetings today or yesterday.
So I'm going to have to, use different names. So
Yeah.
I'll use Brian and Hannah.
Okay.
So Hannah was in this first grade classroom, and the classroom is the new classroom. So you know how classrooms changed, and so we have these new classrooms that are going to be hybrid. And this young little Hannah was so excited. I mean, she just couldn't hardly stand it. She's new to this classroom. She's looking around, and she's being so polite because the teacher's talking. And we're 25 minutes into the classroom, and pretty soon we get to the point where it's time that they can actually have some discussion. And she raises her hand, and that Mrs. Goodwin calls on her, and she says, Brian, I haven't seen you in ages. I'm so glad to see you. Oh, I can't wait. And I thought I was going to die. So number one, she's 6 and it's been ages. And so number 2, how are we ever going to keep them 6 feet apart? Okay, so
I know. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up, because we were talking today. Yes, superhero spacing. We were talking. That is such a cute story. I haven't seen you in ages. I can't wait for them to see each other in real life. We do know that our kiddos are going to want to hug each other, possibly, but also they generally want to hug our adults. And I hope that our families will understand that if our adults are not hugging back, the plan is to not hug. The plan is to either do an elbow bump or some sort of air high five or some sort of, we definitely want to show connection and compassion, and we want to continue to build relationships in person, but we need to do it from a distance. So that's going to be new for us and new for our kids. So we're all going to be learning how to do that, how to make that happen. All right. So we don't have a whole lot of any more questions actually in the chat. It's 5:45. We have another round coming for our Spanish speaking families where we will be showing some of the videos and sharing some of the information in Spanish and then taking questions in Spanish as well. Anything you want to share before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I would love to compliment our parents. This has been an extremely difficult transition throughout the year, and especially with the hybrid rollout. All of the calls that have been made by Mrs. Hoff and Mrs. Kennedy, the teachers, trying to make sure that we hear what your concerns are and try to address them as best we can to make the changes that we needed to make. And, there were students that were placed and moved, and just the continuing communication by teachers to make sure that we address those concerns. And I want to reach out to our remote learners who are going to continue to be in that that program. And I am here to tell you, the teachers are excited. Those that are continuing to be the remote teachers, and those who may be getting a new teacher in the remote learning program, they are so excited to be working with you and continuing that support. And again, if there are any questions or concerns in that particular arena, I am here to help you. And I know Mrs. Hoff and Mrs. Kennedy have worked really hard to make that as smooth as possible. So I want to thank everyone for all their efforts in making that happen.
Definitely. Thank you for bringing that up. All of our grade level teams are going to continue to work very closely together. So whether your student is coming in person in the hybrid model, or if they're staying online, they will continue to, their teacher will continue to work with the other teachers of that grade level to do the best that they can to stay in line with one another, so that when students hopefully return, all of our students return, they will have received the same instruction. So we're pretty excited about that too. Our teams are amazing. And yes, thank you, Brian. Huge kudos to our families for all of the work that they've been doing as well. All right, well, Mrs. Worsbicky says it sounds like we need to have a classroom dance party, and I agree.
More videos. We've got plenty of those. So
yep. So I think that if Erin would like to, I think the plan in between is to put us in a waiting room. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, Erin, for this first session, and then we will come back on at 6 o'clock to do this again in Spanish. And if you were here watching as we wrap it up, just remember, please reach out if you have any questions or concerns along the way to me or Mrs. Kennedy or Mr. Worsbicky, or of course your child's teacher. And we are all here to help you through this process. And thank you so much for being here to watch tonight. All right. Wendy, when we get to the slide about pickup and drop off and those types of things, there's a lot of wording. There's a lot of words on the slide. You don't have to read the whole thing.
Yeah, it was hard to read it from the English one. Just say it verbally and
okay.
because
Well,
we
it's
can
in Spanish though.
Yeah, if you do bring up, I don't think they can hear me. Okay.
Let me see.
All right, you get muted. Everyone, all are muted. Y'all are muted. Okay. All right, thank you. I muted everyone. No, give me a minute. I just need to set the correct settings here. No, can you hear me?
Okay. No, sounds challenging.
Let's see, not this one, not that one.
I love technology.
Copy this thing.
just summarize.
Okay.
That would be easy for Lee.
You like it.
Oh,
Did we get the
thank you. That answered my question.
okay, all right. Yes, this is the right one. Are you ready to go?
Yes.
How we do it, and then I do it.
Okay, and now hello. All right, so you should be live. Just a heads up. Yeah. Show you.
All right. I think we can go ahead and get started. It looks like we have about 3 people watching right now.
Yeah, sorry, I had my phone connected. My bad.
No worries.
You're
You're
good.
fine.
You're good.
We're all set. Okay, let's wait for just a couple minutes and see if we got a few more people watching.
Vamos a esperar un momento para que podamos tener más personas presentes en esta reunión.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started.
Bueno, vamos a empezar.
Okay, welcome Bordeaux families.
Buenos días, familias de Bordeaux,
to our open forum.
a nuestro foro familiar.
Okay. Sorry, Wendy, I'm trying to figure out how to share my screen again. I'm getting nervous. Okay, there we go. Oh, wait. Okay, now we should be ready with sound. Okay.
Bueno, en este momento la directora va a compartir su pantalla.
Thank you, Wendy. So we'll start with introductions. My name is Ms. Hoff. I'm the principal at Bordeaux.
Vamos a empezar con las introducciones. Ella es la señora directora Hannah Hoff.
And go ahead.
Buenas noches. My name is Brian Wersbicki, school counselor.
Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Brian Wiskinski. Soy el consejero de la escuela.
Good evening. My name is Paula Kennedy and I'm the assistant principal.
Buenos, mi nombre es Paula Kennedy y soy la subdirectora de la escuela.
Soy la señora Dunnigan, soy la maestra de inglés.
Y yo soy Wendy Lankelis, la enlace familiar de la escuela Bordeaux.
Okay, thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Our agenda for this evening, we're going to start with the Shelton School District hybrid video.
Para nuestra agenda de hoy vamos a empezar compartiendo la agenda de cómo va a ser el módulo híbrido para abrir las escuelas.
Then we will take a look at some of the tutorials that our very own Mr. Worsbicky created for us to teach our students how to come back to school safely.
Y después vamos a darle el tiempo al consejero Brian Wiskinski, que nos demostrará unos videos de cómo será el regreso a la escuela y comportarse en la escuela y el transporte del bus.
And then we'll have time for questions and answers.
Y después vamos a tener tiempo para preguntas y respuestas.
Okay. Oops. So, first, the video.
En el Distrito Escolar de Shelton, la salud y seguridad de nuestros estudiantes, personal y familias sigue siendo nuestra prioridad más importante. Hemos trabajado duro para asegurarnos de estar listos para dar la bienvenida a los estudiantes de manera segura para el aprendizaje en persona en un modelo mixto. Los estudiantes asistirán a la escuela cara a cara los lunes y martes o jueves y viernes. Los miércoles son días de aprendizaje en línea para todos y el personal tiene horario de oficina, planificación o reuniones de clase en línea. Los estudiantes de preescolar, jardín de niños, primero, quinto y séptimo grado regresarán tentativamente a la escuela el 22 de febrero. Los estudiantes de segundo, tercero, cuarto, sexto, octavo al 12º grado regresarán tentativamente a la escuela el 15 de marzo. En este video repasaremos cómo sería un día típico en la escuela y resaltaremos los procedimientos de seguridad importantes para garantizar que los estudiantes y el personal estén lo más seguro posible cuando regresen a la escuela. Entonces, ¿cómo será un día típico? Mientras están en la escuela y en los autobuses, requerimos que todos los estudiantes usen una mascarilla que cubra su nariz y boca en todo momento. Los estudiantes deben traer sus propias mascarillas todos los días, pero las escuelas pueden proporcionar mascarillas a los estudiantes que las olviden. Recomendamos mascarillas de tela reutilizables de múltiples capas. Los gaiters no proporcionan una protección aceptable. Si su estudiante viaja en el autobús, es necesario que use una mascarilla. Nuestros conductores del autobús llevarán extras por si acaso. Todos los estudiantes deberán sentarse en sus asientos asignados. Los hermanos pueden sentarse juntos en un asiento, pero todos los demás estudiantes deberán sentarse un estudiante por asiento. Todas las áreas y asientos que sean tocadas frecuentemente serán desinfectadas entre rutas y cuando regresen al estacionamiento del autobús. Antes de llegar a la escuela, los estudiantes de primaria, los padres y tutores completarán diariamente un formulario de confirmación COVID. Cada escuela trabajará con las familias para proporcionar formularios de confirmación. Los padres o tutores enviarán el formulario de confirmación a la escuela con su estudiante todos los días. El código QR es único para cada estudiante y no se puede utilizar para otros estudiantes de la familia. Los estudiantes de secundaria y preparatoria recibirán calcamonías de códigos únicos QR y responderán ellos mismos a las preguntas de COVID al llegar a la escuela. Los estudiantes tendrán la opción de iniciar una sesión usando sus teléfonos inteligentes y responder a las preguntas con anticipación visitando la aplicación appscreaming.com. Cuando los estudiantes llegan a la escuela, irán a un lugar de evaluación COVID, cerca de la entrada principal o a la entrada del autobús en cada escuela. Los lugares de evaluación estarán claramente marcados. Si los estudiantes llegan tarde, irán al lugar de la evaluación en la oficina principal. En el lugar de evaluación COVID, los estudiantes escanearán su código QR de su formulario de certificación, etiqueta de código QR o teléfono inteligente en un kiosco de evaluación. El kiosco escaneará su temperatura. El evaluador hará las preguntas de certificación si el estudiante aún no las ha respondido. Si el estudiante pasa las preguntas y si tu temperatura es inferior a 100 grados Fahrenheit, será admitido en el edificio y se le pedirá que vaya a una estación de lavado de manos para lavarse las manos. Si el estudiante no pasa el cuestionario o su temperatura registra 100 grados Fahrenheit o más, será enviado a un evaluador secundario para una evaluación más avanzada. Si la temperatura se confirma a 100 grados Fahrenheit o más, o si el niño está visiblemente enfermo, no relacionado con alergias estacionales, o si alguna de las preguntas se confirma como una respuesta afirmativa, el estudiante será llevado a una sala de aislamiento y se le pedirá a su contacto que lo recoja. Los estudiantes que no pasen la prueba y no se les requiera ponerse en cuarentena, no pueden regresar a la escuela por 3 días hábiles y sus síntomas y temperatura deberán haber disminuido. Es importante que los estudiantes mantengan sus manos limpias durante todo el día. Los estudiantes deben lavarse las manos al llegar a la escuela y se les pedirá que se las laven en varios otros puntos durante el día. Esto incluye antes de comer, después de los recreos, después de educación física y completar proyectos o actividades. También se han colocado estaciones de desinfectante de manos en nuestras escuelas para ayudar a complementar el lavado de manos. Aunque los estudiantes estarán emocionados de volver a ver a sus amigos cuando regresen a la escuela, se requerirá una distancia física de 6 pies en todo momento, excepto cuando se crucen accidentalmente en los pasillos y se encuentren momentáneamente en la escuela. Los estudiantes podrán hablar entre ellos en los momentos apropiados y habrá algunas oportunidades de socialización, pero se requerirán máscaras y distanciamiento. Los salones de clases se han configurado de manera que las mesas y los escritorios estén separados por más de 6 pies, de lado a lado y de atrás hacia adelante. Se requerirá un distanciamiento incluso a la hora de almuerzo. ¿Cómo serán los salones de clase? Nuestro departamento de mantenimiento ha estado trabajando con esos edificios para determinar la capacidad máxima para que los estudiantes estén alejados de manera segura en un salón de clases, sentados a 6 pies de distancia. Los estudiantes no compartirán útiles ni materiales. Los estudiantes se lavarán las manos antes de entrar al salón de clases. Al final de la clase, los estudiantes ayudarán a limpiar su escritorio o cualquier material si están pasando a otra clase. Los estudiantes no traerán su Chromebook de lado a lado para los grados del kinder al sexto. En los grados de séptimo a 12avo, se les pedirá que traigan sus Chromebooks desde y hacia la casa y a la escuela. Las escuelas comunicarán con las familias y publicarán las listas de útiles escolares en el sitio web del distrito. Los maestros y los estudiantes continuarán usando el plan de estudios del kinder al 12avo grado durante el sistema híbrido. Las comidas seguirán siendo gratuitas para todos los estudiantes durante el resto del año escolar 2020-2021. Las comidas estarán en bolsas para llevar con un desayuno o almuerzo completo y todos los artículos estarán empaquetados previamente. Mientras están en la escuela, los estudiantes recogerán su almuerzo y dependiendo de su escuela, irán a comer al área común, la cafetería o el salón de clases. Durante la etapa B, el modelo combinado, los servicios de comida para llevar continuarán en la preparatoria, en la primaria Evergreen y Bordeaux, de 10:30 a 12:30 p.m. en los días escolares programados para que los estudiantes aprendan de forma remota y también para los miembros de la comunidad de 18 años y menores. Las comidas se limitan a un desayuno y un almuerzo por niño por día. Estamos trabajando arduamente para proporcionar la mayor cantidad de comidas posibles a todos los niños que lo necesiten. Si un estudiante recibe comidas mientras está en la escuela, el estudiante no debe recoger comidas también en la escuela. Los días en que los estudiantes asisten a la escuela, ya sea en el grupo A o en el grupo B, participarán en un tiempo de aprendizaje no sincronizado. El aprendizaje no sincronizado significa que aprenderán de forma independiente desde su casa. Los estudiantes tendrán 3 días no sincronizados a la semana. Las escuelas de kinder al octavo, junto con Choice y la preparatoria Cedar, saldrán 60 minutos antes. Los grados 9 a 12avo de la preparatoria de Shelton participarán en el aprendizaje no sincronizado de 12:30 a 2:20 de la tarde. Las escuelas se comunicarán con las familias con más información. El Distrito Escolar de Shelton continuará enfocándose en crear un ambiente escolar seguro y saludable mientras hacemos la transición al aprendizaje en persona. Si usted tiene preguntas, no dude en comunicarse con su escuela o llamar a la oficina del distrito al 360-426-1687. Puede encontrar más información en nuestro sitio web www.sheltonschools.org. Esperamos verte pronto.
All right. Thank you. Oops. Okay. So next up, we're going to take a look at our tutorial videos.
En lo siguiente vamos a presentarles algunos de nuestros videos tutoriales.
And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Worsbicky to tell us a little bit about these videos.
Y vamos a darle el tiempo al consejero Brian Bisbinski para que pueda hablar acerca de estos videos. Y a continuación vamos a dejar a la maestra Lee para que pueda traducirle al consejero.
Thank you, Mrs. Hoff.
Muchas gracias, señora Hoff.
So tonight we will be showing you
Esta noche vamos a mirar
a PowerPoint of our videos for our Bulldog training.
una presentación de PowerPoint sobre los videos de Bulldog.
The training videos will give your child a glimpse of what the day will be like within our building.
Los videos de entrenamiento de Bulldog van a mostrar cómo el día va a ser por su estudiante.
For example, what our expectations are for walking down the halls,
Por ejemplo, cuáles son las expectaciones cuando camina por el pasillo,
using our restrooms,
usando los baños,
going to our cafeteria,
va a la cafetería
and most importantly, how to screen into our buildings.
y cómo entrar en la escuela.
These PowerPoint slides also will have videos.
Estas pantallas van a tener videos también.
And the videos will demonstrate each of the areas that will be described in the slide.
Y los videos van a demostrar cada área de que habla en la pantalla.
And so to gain access to these slides and videos, you just need to go to our Bordeaux Elementary website.
Para accesar estos videos necesita visitar nuestro sitio de Bordeaux.
Our classroom teachers have also been teaching these expectations in the classroom through the remote learning.
Las maestras también enseñan a sus estudiantes esas expectaciones.
So with the assistance of Mrs. Hoff, we'll demonstrate and show you some of the slides and videos from this program.
Con la ayuda de la señora Huff, vamos a ver los videos.
So when you go to the PowerPoint, all you need to do is click on the slide to move it forward.
Solamente necesita haz clic en el video.
And when you see a video inside the slide, just click on the video and enjoy.
Cuando mira el video en la pantalla, puede mirar.
Atención, Bulldogs de Bordeaux. Bienvenidos de regreso. En Bordeaux Elementary estamos emocionados de darles la bienvenida.
That's very exciting.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so would you like to share another video?
Yes, why don't we go to the superhero racing?
Vamos a mirar el video de distanciamiento de superhéroe.
One
That's a
of the
hard word to
many
say.
one of the many challenges
Uno de los problemas
is to teach students how to social distance.
es enseñar a los estudiantes cómo hacer distancia social.
And so we were fortunate to work with an elementary school in Chehalis
Trabajamos con una escuela de Chehalis
who taught their students
que
social distancing
enseñaron a sus estudiantes distanciamiento
by using a technique called superhero spacing.
por usar un método se llama distanciamiento de superhéroe.
So we're going to demonstrate that for you. Mrs. Hoff, one additional piece of information.
Vamos a demostrar este. A usted.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Lee. As you're playing the video, you can also click on the closed caption and it will also have the words to the video.
Cuando mira el video puede haz clic en closed captioning para mirar las palabras.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Bienvenidos Bulldogs. En este video vamos a aprender de distanciamiento de superhéroe. ¿Qué es el distanciamiento de superhéroe? Bueno, el distanciamiento de superhéroe nos ayuda a mantenernos separados y seguros mientras caminamos en los pasillos. Observa cómo Buddy y los estudiantes están con los ojos y caras al frente. Ve cómo tienen sus brazos levantados como superhéroe. Un brazo apunta hacia adelante y el otro hacia atrás. Ahora vamos a ver a Buddy y sus amigos otra vez. Nota que Buddy y sus amigos tienen sus ojos y caras al frente y sus brazos levantados como superhéroes. Y están manteniendo un espacio seguro en el pasillo. Y así es como hacemos distanciamiento de superhéroe aquí en Bordeaux. Gracias, Buddy, por mantener todos a salvo.
Very nice. Gracias, buddy.
He is such a good role model for our
He
students.
is.
The last slide we'd like to show you is
Sorry.
the last slide we'd like to show
La última pantalla que queremos mostrar
is one of our screening videos coming off the bus.
es uno de los videos de salir del autobús.
Okay.
Llegando a la entrada del autobús. Cuando llegas, bajar del autobús. Ser seguro y usa distanciamiento de superhéroe cuando caminas. Camina hasta la entrada de evaluación. Usa tu cubrebocas y usa palabras y acciones amables. Mantén manos, pies y otros objetos a ti mismo. Espera con paciencia en la línea de temperatura. Entrega su forma de confirmación al personal y checa tu temperatura. Después de checar tu temperatura, ve a la estación de lavado de manos. ¿Todo limpio? Hora de ir a clase. Sé responsable e ir directamente a la clase cuando terminas. Si recoge desayuno, lo puede recoger en camino a clase. Que tengas un buen día en la escuela. Ahora, te toca a ti. Bajar del autobús y camina a la estación de evaluación. Ser seguro y usa distanciamiento de superhéroe. Bien hecho. Mantenga manos, pies y otros objetos a ti mismo. Espera con paciencia en la línea de temperatura. Entrega la forma de confirmación al personal y checa tu temperatura. Cuando termina, ve a la estación de lavado de manos. Mantenga tu cubrebocas puesta y usa palabras y acciones amables. Sé responsable y directamente a clase cuando terminas. Si recoges desayuno, lo puedes recoger en camino a clase. Gracias, buddy, por enseñarnos cómo llegar seguro a la escuela en el autobús.
Thank you, Mrs. Hoff.
Thank
Muchas
you.
gracias, señora Hoff.
We also want to let you know
También queremos informarles.
that we also have a PowerPoint for our recess.
También tenemos una presentación de recreo
And we have slides and a few videos as well.
y tenemos una presentación y también videos.
The slides will explain
Las hojas van a explicar
how to use the variety of different playground equipment
cómo usar el equipo de recreo
and how to be safe, respectful, and responsible.
y cómo ser seguro, responsable y respetuoso.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And Wendy, you are giving links to all of this, right, on WhatsApp?
Yes. And yo estoy dando algunos enlaces de estos videos en WhatsApp también.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we wanted to show our families the attestation form.
El siguiente paso, vamos a enseñarles a las familias la forma de atestación.
So again, I know Wendy has done a lot of work with you, and Mrs. Dunnigan has done a lot of work with you to teach you how to use this form.
Yo sé que Wendy está haciendo un gran trabajo y la señora Dunnigan también para explicarles acerca de esta forma.
You must send this form complete to school every day with your student.
Tienen que mandar esta forma llena todos los días que su estudiante se presenta en la escuela.
Next, we're going to talk a little bit about drop off, pick up and drop off.
Siguiente, vamos a hablar acerca de entrega y recogida de la escuela.
So I posted the Spanish version on the screen, but of course I can't read it very well.
Tengo la página en español en la pantalla, pero está muy pequeña, así que no podré leerla. Y entonces vamos a resumir.
But I wanted our families to know that it's in the packet that we sent home.
Pero quiero que las familias sepan que esta forma está en el paquete que enviamos a casa.
So school is from 9 to 2:30.
Las horas de la escuela van a ser de 9 a 2:30.
And you saw in the video what happens if students arrive on the bus.
Ustedes vieron en el video qué es lo que sucede cuando los estudiantes bajan del bus.
If students are dropped off in the front,
Los estudiantes que vienen y que a dejarlos, los padres de familia en carro,
parents must stay in the car and wait for our staff to tell them when it's time for their student to get out of the car.
las familias tienen que tener a sus hijos en el carro hasta que un empleado de la escuela pueda dejarles saber que puede bajar y entrar a la línea.
And students should have their attestation form in their hands when they exit their vehicle.
Su estudiante tiene que tener la forma de atestación firmada y contestada antes de que salga del carro para que pueda presentarla en la entrada.
We will take them through the screening line.
Vamos a hacerlos pasar por la línea del escreenamiento.
We'll collect their attestation form and take their temperature.
Vamos a pedirle la forma de estación y vamos a sacarle su temperatura
to make sure that they are healthy enough to be at school.
para darnos cuenta si estos niños están saludablemente para que puedan estar en la escuela.
Please do not send your students to school if they have any of the symptoms listed on the attestation form.
Por favor, no envíe a sus niños a la escuela si usted piensa que tienen algunos de los síntomas que presentamos en la forma.
Breakfast and lunch will be served at school, and students can have breakfast and lunch every day for free.
El desayuno y el almuerzo se va a servir en la escuela y sus estudiantes pueden tenerlo gratis.
Students will eat breakfast in their classrooms.
Y los estudiantes, una vez que agarren su desayuno, pueden llevárselo al salón de su maestra.
They'll eat lunch in the lunchroom.
Y el almuerzo lo van a comer en el gimnasio.
If students bring food or lunch from home, they have to pack it in a disposable container.
Si usted ha escogido mandar almuerzo de su casa, asegúrese de mandarlo en bolsas o cosas que se pueden tirar, ya que no podemos tener nada que se pueda guardar.
Okay. Mrs. Kennedy, would you fill in the details that I may have missed?
Señora Kennedy, ¿podría agregar algo más a lo que estamos hablando, por si acaso olvidé algo?
I think you did a great job. I think it's really important to remember to send a bagged lunch or to take advantage of that free lunch. We will have lunch menus ready for them when they return to school. And if they're wondering what they are, well, they will have the full week's lunch menu when they return to school. So they'll get a whole month's worth.
Le recordamos que es mejor que tome el almuerzo y el desayuno en la escuela y tomar, ya que es gratis, es mejor que lo reciban y más adelante, si habíamos una forma de cómo ayudarles para que sí se les permita traer de su casa, le vamos a dejar saber, pero lo mejor es que debería de aprovechar y tomar el almuerzo y el desayuno de la escuela, ya que este año es gratis.
Okay, If parents need to pick students up early,
Si ustedes necesitan venir a recoger a sus estudiantes temprano, antes de la hora de salida,
they need to pull into the parking lot and call into the office so that we can have the student ready.
necesita llamar desde el parqueo, estando en su carro, y avisarnos que viene a recoger sus hijos.
Once we have the student ready to go home, we will call them to let them know when it's safe to come into the building to sign the student out.
Una vez que tengamos a su estudiante localizado, vamos a llamarle de regreso al carro para que pueda pasar a recoger su estudiante y firmar la hoja de salida de su hijo.
And at the end of the day, if they're picking students up, we need them to be patient.
Y si al final del día usted va a recoger su hijo a la salida, por favor tenga paciencia.
We would like parents to stay in their cars until we bring students out to the cars.
Nos gustaría que los padres de familia se queden en su carro hasta que nosotros les traigamos los estudiantes a ustedes.
We will give parents a sign to put in their cars so that we know who they are picking up.
Vamos a darles señales o pósteres con el nombre de sus estudiantes para que ustedes lo puedan poner en la ventana. Así nosotros nos daremos cuenta quién viene a recoger y vamos a tenerlo listo para ustedes.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
We want to tell you a little bit about what the week will look like.
Nos gustaría dejarles saber cómo sería la semana en la escuela, cómo se va a ver los días en clase.
For students in Group A, they will attend in person at school on Monday and Tuesday and online Wednesday and Friday.
Para los estudiantes del grupo A, vendrán a la escuela lunes y martes y se quedarán en casa en línea miércoles, jueves y viernes.
For students in Group B, they will attend school online Monday through Wednesday, and they will attend school in person Thursday and Friday.
Y para los estudiantes del grupo B, estarán en línea en casa lunes, martes y miércoles y vendrán a la escuela jueves y viernes.
Okay. Recess will be outside in separate groups, different zones.
En el recreo vamos a permitir a los estudiantes ir afuera y van a estar monitoreados en grupos diferentes y separados.
Students will wear masks and disinfect their hands before they go outside, and either disinfect their hands or wash their hands when they return.
Los estudiantes van a utilizar sus máscaras todo el tiempo y vamos a dejar que se laven las manos y que utilicen gel de manos mientras están afuera.
Bathroom use will be limited.
También el uso del baño va a ser limitado.
And students will be asked to wash their hands before they return to the classroom.
Los estudiantes se les va a pedir que se laven las manos al regresar al salón.
I should say that a little bit differently, Wendy. We're not limiting bathroom use. We're limiting the number of students that get to use the bathroom at the same time.
La directora quiere corregir lo que dijo anteriormente. No es que vamos a limitar a los niños que vayan al baño, sino que vamos a limitar el número de estudiantes y vamos a coordinarlo de manera que no estén muchos en el baño al mismo tiempo.
As we've said many times, students need to wear a mask over their nose and mouth at all times unless they're eating or drinking.
Como dijimos anteriormente, los estudiantes tienen que utilizar su máscara debido a que vamos a tener que cuidarlos mejormente a ellos.
Okay, and we will continue to take attendance every day, both the days that the students are in person and the days that they're online.
Y vamos a continuar tomando la asistencia aun cuando estemos en línea o en persona, igualmente como lo hemos estado haciendo.
Okay. That's all that we plan to present. Do we have questions? You can put your questions in WhatsApp to Wendy, and then she will read them to us and we will answer them.
Si tienen algunas preguntas, por favor mándelas en WhatsApp. Vamos ahorita a responderlas. Y me voy a fijar ahorita si hay preguntas.
And Wendy, do you want me to read the WhatsApp number?
Yes.
Okay, the number is 30.
Vamos a darles el número de teléfono es el que la mayoría de ustedes lo tienen, pero por si no lo tienen es el 360-545-7310.
Thank you.
Okay. There is a question.
Yay.
We're not going to be allowed at all in the office, or if we need help from Wendy. No vamos a recibir ninguna ayuda o dejarnos recibir en la oficina de Wendy.
We are asking our parents not to come into the building at this time.
Por ahorita no vamos a permitir visitas en persona al edificio por este momento.
But you can still text or call Wendy and she can come outside to help.
Pero ustedes todavía pueden textearme y llamarme si necesitan ayuda.
It's a good question.
There's another question.
Okay.
When are we going to know the bus number of my son?
Okay.
¿Cuándo vamos a ver los números de buses de nuestros hijos?
Holly, okay. Hold on one second. I'm thinking about how to say this. We were supposed to get phone calls out today to families with bus information.
Supuestamente tenían que haber estado recibiendo algunas llamadas ya hoy con la información del bus y la hora que sus hijos tendrían que agarrar. Si no reciben hoy, tal vez mañana.
If they don't receive a call by tomorrow, they should call the bus garage to ask.
Si ustedes no tienen la información lo más tardar mañana, por favor, no duden en llamar al garaje del bus. Can I go ahead and tell them that I have the number? Y si ustedes necesitan el número del garaje, por favor, llámenme o déjenme saber y yo le doy el número de teléfono del garaje o yo puedo ayudarles también a averiguar su información. Let me see. It sounds again. Hold on.
Thank you.
I have a thought. And thinking about it, we will also need to, and we will designate an area that people who are walking to pick up their students will stand.
Thank you. Yes.
And we will also create signs so they can hold them up so that we can call. And so we will also help them in having a sign to hold up so that we can call for their students.
También vamos a tener lugares afuera para que ustedes puedan caminar y buscar por sus estudiantes con sus posters para que podamos ver a quienes están buscando.
Thank you.
There's another question, Hannah.
Okay.
If my son is sick, if I have two students at school and one of them doesn't pass the temperature or is sick, so my other son has to go home too. Si tenemos un niño enfermo, uno de mis hijos está enfermo y el otro está saludable, ¿los dos nos tenemos que ir a la casa?
No, unless there is a known exposure, possibly we would have siblings stay home. But if one sibling doesn't screen in because of a temperature or symptoms, that does not mean automatically the other siblings need to go home.
No, no lo vamos a mandar al otro niño. Si sabemos que nada más es enfermo, pero que no es porque ha sido expuesto al COVID-19, no lo vamos a mandar a la casa, y dependiendo de la situación.
Thank you, Wendy.
I have another question, sorry.
Good.
It's a long one, so I have
That's
to
okay.
read it.
Yep, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Maria, and my kids that we're gonna be dropping outside of the school, we have the same rules. I'm sorry, it's just.
That's okay. Take your time. Take your time.
Okay, she's saying that if the students who are dropped off by the parents, that they're just going there, are gonna have the same rule as the other students on the bus.
Yes. So the students who. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
let me read it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Tenemos una pregunta de una mamá, doña María. Dice que si las mismas reglas que estamos presentando van a ser para los estudiantes que se dejan afuera de la escuela, cuando los dejan en los padres de familia.
Yes, so when students get dropped off, we will be asking for their attestation forms to be in their hands before they get out of the car.
Cuando lleguen a la escuela, ustedes se van a quedar en el carro con sus hijos y van a tener un póster con los nombres de sus hijos para que nosotros lo dejemos salir del carro y entrar a la línea. Pero usted tiene que tener su forma de atestación con el niño para que pueda entrar a la línea.
And then we will guide them into the building and they will go through the same screening process.
Y después lo vamos a guiar hacia dentro del edificio y adentro vamos a seguir las siguientes reglas, que es tomarle su temperatura y su atestación, su forma de atestación. Okay, the same follow-up question. So we have to wait outside until the process is done. Tenemos que estar esperando afuera just to see if my kids' temperature is okay, or we just can go, or you guys will let us know. I'm resuming that question. She's asking if after their drop and they went inside, do we need to wait outside just in case the temperatures, even if
They don't. If they are well enough to come to school and they have answered all of the questions on the form and signed the form, if the student had a temperature all of a sudden, for some reason, we would call them back. They don't have to wait.
Si ustedes han entregado al niño y revisaron las preguntas y usted sabe que el niño está saludable ese día, simplemente lo pueden dejar y irse a su casa. No vamos a pedirles que se queden esperando si pasaron el escrutinamiento.
Thank you.
I don't see no more questions.
Okay. That was a good question. I
No hay
wonder
más
if she
preguntas.
has any other follow-up questions or if that makes sense.
No.
Okay.
No hay más preguntas. ¿Alguien tiene más preguntas? Por favor, mandarlas al WhatsApp. Las estamos leyendo en vivo. Hannah, can I add something to the families?
Please, yes. Anything that you think we missed or you want to add, absolutely.
Por favor, asegúrese de tener su forma de contacto de emergencia llenada con sus nuevos miembros de familias que le van a ayudar a recoger el niño si usted no va a poder recogerlo. Y si ha cambiado de dirección, por favor, déjenos saber porque estamos arreglando las rutas del bus y mientras más pronto nos digan las direcciones correctas, vamos a saber el bus y la parada de bus del niño. Gracias.
Thank you.
There's no more questions so far here.
Okay. Will you, I would like for anybody who's still watching to know that if they ever have other questions, I know they can reach out to you on WhatsApp. And they can also set up time to talk with us.
Queremos hacerles saber a las familias que si ustedes tienen más preguntas, por favor no se preocupe llamándonos a nosotros a cualquier hora, a cualquier día. Le podemos dar la respuesta ya sea por WhatsApp o por teléfono o también si usted quiere hablar directamente con la directora y con la subdirectora, también podemos hacer una cita con ellos.
Thank you, Wendy.
Gracias, Wendy.
All right, well, should we give it a couple more minutes? What do you think, Wendy?
¿Padres de familia quieren hacer más preguntas o ya no tienen más preguntas para cerrar el foro?
And then you're planning to send the link to the YouTube video out to all of your parents or out to all of our parents?
Yes.
Okay.
Después de esta reunión vamos a mañana o la siguiente semana vamos a compartir este foro, este enlace para que ustedes lo pueden ver para los que no la pudieron ver o los que llegaron tarde. I asked the last mom if she got the answer that she wanted.
Okay, good.
She said yes.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for joining us and we hope that you have a good evening. We're looking forward to seeing your kiddos back next week, either Monday and Tuesday or Thursday and Friday.
Ok, muchísimas gracias a todos los que estuvieron presentes y estamos muy felices y no podemos esperar para poderlos recibir el lunes en la escuela.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Pasen buenas noches. Gracias.